at Chargers, a game they pulled out, as you well know. But he played 54 snaps in that game. That's a lot.
That is.
He had played 75% of the defensive snaps in the 2 games at Chargers and then Philadelphia at home. Played 50 snaps in that one. And against the Chargers, I saw rejuvenation. I saw a new spirit from him. I saw a new confidence surrounded by all the young studs. And, you know, like it sort of the rising tide lifts all boats, and his boat got lifted a little bit by all the new spirit on the defense. Trevon Diggs making defensive player the month, and now he's the week. He did the month of September, and now he's the week. And somehow Jalen sort of got swept up in that. He was playing a little more like Jalen because he had 9 tackles at Chargers, 6 of them solo tackles. Well, that's pretty good production.
Yes.
Now, his snaps fell pretty dramatically against Carolina, and I don't know why. So he's appointed captain for that game, and then he didn't play as many snaps. I don't know what the strategy was, but the point is, I thought he was a valuable contributor. He didn't start any of those games. But again, injuries happen. COVID's going to keep happening. You know it, and I know it. So would I rather have him if you already paid him? Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, you know and I know what was lurking out there. There is a trigger in his contract whereby if he gets hurt this year, all of a sudden, immediately guaranteed is $9.2 million for next year. Well, he hasn't been hurt at all. The irony was, after he came off the knee injury and fought through that, he's been flawless. He's been invincible. You know, he's not missed a game. So what were the odds that he would get hurt? Well, I don't even know how to put odds on it, but his would be lower than most.
Low, but there's a chance in football you can get hurt.
Well, sure.
And they're not willing to accept those odds, Skip. But here's the thing, Skip. When you look at a Dan Quinn defense, everywhere he's coached, the one thing that they could do was run. Every one of those linebackers can run. If you look at him in Seattle, they could run. You look at Atlanta, they were fast. Now, obviously, they didn't have any size, and we know what they represented. But they could run to the football. Jalen is the odd man out in that situation, Skip.
He used to be able to run, and then I don't know what happened. He lost a step. And do you remember there was a play against Arizona in the preseason this year in which he had to bolt to the edge on a toss play? And it looked like he was running in slow motion, and Twitter just went crazy over it, and it was just all over just that play. And it looked like he was running in quicksand. And I assume the coaching staff finally just said, hey, we'll be fine without him. We get like
no. Jerry said we'll be fine.
Well, somebody had. Well, okay, yeah, that's right. But he had to hear it first from the coaches because he has no idea. He had to hear the coaches say, "Jerry, actually, Jabril Cox needs some snaps." That's what they're saying.
And Skip, I mean, it's before. I mean, you're the last to see it. But if you watch Jalen Smith, it was a struggle. And the thing is, Skip, a lot of times when we start to slow down, we start to take chances that we shouldn't take or that we could recover when we were younger. But what happens when you take that chance and all of a sudden you get out of position and you got to catch up? That's what you're talking about. It looks like he's digging. But damn, you ain't gained any ground, bro. I mean, it's like you still in one place. And the dude way over there.
That's what was happening. And so finally, it became not worth the risk of having to pay him 9.2.
This is about next year. This ain't about this year.
No, because 9.2 is a lot of money against your cap next year as you look down the road of, wait a second, we could really have something happening here, and we don't want to be stuck with that albatross contract around our neck going into next year. So I'm still a little surprised they didn't just grin and bear it and just go forward because it's happening. It's going the right direction. And I feel like he was a part of the spirit of the team.
It seems to me, Skip, you, with your superstitious self, like, we got something good, let's just let it stay. Even if it's going to cost you $9 million, let's not mess up this year.
No, why would you? Like, shouldn't you just leave it be? Shouldn't you just leave it alone? Don't mess with success, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, so that's my...
Clearly, Jerry's not superstitious as you are.
He is not, but in the end, I'm looking at the silver lining, and now I'm going to drive this point home to you that I did yesterday.
Okay.
This team is loaded. It is loaded with young, upcoming, dare I say, special talent. Talent worthy of saying, we don't even need him, and we're going to be okay without him. And I don't discount that idea, but when I look down the line, Keanu Neal is back at his rightful position. He didn't belong at strong safety. He's a linebacker.
He was a slow safety, but a fast linebacker.
He's a fast linebacker, and he will stick you.
Yes.
And he is a run stuffer. And this team, again, my favorite stat so far this year, just for this defense, is they're 6th against the run. I know it's early. I know it's a very small sample size, but they are 6th. Last year, at this point, they were dead last.
Right.
And I mean, I emphasize the word dead last.
Right.
And now I'm looking at Micah Parsons is going to be a perennial Pro Bowler. And Wolf Hunter is still a very talented player because he was obviously a middle of the first round draft pick.
Yeah.
Right?
As long as you don't let him get in space. He has a problem in space.
Yep.
And so that's why they like Keanu Neal trying to cover the tight end up the field, covering the backside of the backfield, and they let Wolf Hunter come downhill and strike you. But I was surprised, Skip, when I saw this flash of breaking news. I'm like, breaking news? What's going on? And then I see this, I'm like, oh, I get it. You know, he's not starting. He's not what he once was, but 4 games into the season.
All right, but you know what they're looking at? What I drove home to you yesterday, Donovan Wilson was a breath of fresh air last year at safety. He hasn't been playing. He's on his way back from his injury. Mm-hmm. And DeMarcus Lawrence has made Pro Bowls before, and he's going to be back at one of the defensive ends.
Right.
And Randy Gregory is starting to have that breakout season that I thought. He is an edge rusher who is difficult to contain. And they were actually missing 4 stars because Neville Gallimore was a disruptive force in the middle of the line. And now Osa, the kid from UCLA, the rookie, he's becoming equal to Neville Gallimore. And Carlos Watkins is coming back. And all of a sudden, I'm looking around, that Golston kid's getting snaps and making plays. And I'm saying, Dorrance Armstrong started and had a sack at Justin Herbert. And I'm saying, they're all coming back. And so the defensive staff is just throwing up his hands saying, we're good.
They have depth. Nobody, with the exception of Parsons and Stephon Diggs, jumps off the page at you.
Okay.
But they're deep at a lot of positions, which means now, Skip, we don't have to play a whole lot of snaps, wear guys down. You don't have to worry about playing D-Law 55 snaps. Now you can play D-Law 35 snaps and maximize his production. Dorrance Armstrong, you can maximize guys' production by not wearing them down, playing the high total of snaps. So everybody's fresh, and you know, like, man, I only got so many opportunities. I got to show what I got. It's kind of you put everybody on that a rookie that's trying to make the team on that preseason mentality. You only get X amount of snaps, bro.
Okay.
You better flash.
Every time I look up, Jaron Kearse flashes. Right?
Yeah.
Where'd he come from? They stole him.
Dan Quinn is very simple in his approach, Skip. He's a single high safety guy. They'll run robber, what we used to call lurk. They jump the guy on a crossing route. But it's, Skip, it's very simplistic. Run to the football. We ain't got all these exotic coverage. They do this, do that. They do this, you do that. No.
And Kazee is impressing me because he's around the football, getting his hands on it, making plays, dislodging footballs. All of a sudden, I'm saying, Mike McCarthy was right about one thing. He's never seen one side of the ball flipped in an offseason the way the defensive side was flipped. Jimmy Johnson, who's always right, was dead right about this, that this team is pointing toward the postseason in which it's going to be fresh and strong because it's so deep.
Yeah, and you skip they're a 4-down lineman team. They were trying to run some 3-4 last year, stand guys up. But at the end of the day, the really great coordinators says, let me play to my personnel, not let me play to what I do well. And so it seems like Dan Quinn says, look, I got 4-3 personnel. Ooh, that's perfect. That's what I love to call. And those guys, I give them credit, Skip. They are running to the football.
They are. Which means that the month of October is obviously Halloween month, and you're going to have one long nightmare the rest of the season thanks to my Dallas Cowboys. So all you Cowboy haters out there, you are on notice because we just said we don't even need Jalen Smith.
Do you know who was an offensive rookie of the year offensive player of the week for the NFC? You do know.
No, I don't.
You'll see him on